Welcome to Living Martial Arts with Master Ray Gale, aka the Dark Master. Living Martial Arts discusses and examines the everyday exercise, philosophy, and lifestyle of the martial arts enthusiast. The host talks about his own training, past and present, and he also interviews many martial artists to discover how they continue to live their own martial arts journey. Tune in for top tips on how to get the best out of your martial art. Or perhaps you're thinking of starting a martial art. This podcast offers you an easy way to dip your toe in. Sign up for the newsletter at livingmartialarts.com and get regular updates and training tips direct to your inbox. Follow the Dark Master on Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram at Living Martial Arts.
Hello and welcome to the Living Martial Arts podcast with me, the Dark Master, once again back with you with a fantastic guest. I haven't seen him for a long time, and we share quite a bit of our past, so that's good. So we've got joining me today. I know he's a player of music as well, and he's into motorbikes, which is great. We've got Master John Archer here. How are you doing, Master Archer?
Really good, thank you, sir, and thank you ever so much for asking me to do this today. It's much appreciated. Thank you.
No worries. You're welcome. But as I was saying, it's been a while. We've our paths have crossed many years ago, and not so much of late as because of what's going on. But it's nice to get back and see you again. So, without further ado, as my listeners will know, what I generally do is I generally start with a little bit about your martial arts journey, how it started and how it progressed. But as I mentioned, I always say this could take 3 years, really, because you've been in it a long time. And unfortunately, we have to have the shortened version. But yes. There we go. So, tell us a little bit about that, how you started, and take it from there.
Okay. In 1976, there was a karate club opened up in Stratford-on-Avon. I was 12 years old, and crazy on Bruce Lee and Enter the Dragon, early 70s and mid 70s. That was everywhere, wasn't it? So my dad took me to it. I was the youngest bar one person. They were all grown men, and there weren't any girls or ladies there in the class. And he enrolled me. I didn't like it at all. It was really hard for a 12-year-old. But the instructor was a guy called Clayton Moraine, who I'm sure some of your listeners will have had dealings with his because he opened a shop and everything, didn't he? But he was a great instructor, and he was so good at karate. He was really, really tough, very, very fit. Yeah, it was all hard. I stayed with Clayton for nearly 3 years, and then his assistants took over, and it got a little bit messy with the club and everything. And then that was it. That was the end. So about end of 78, I stopped, and a few years later, Taekwondo had opened up in Stratford. So I went along to see it. Always been into the martial arts, and walked in. I just thought, I have to do this. I have to do this. And I joined up. That was 1983. Yeah, that was joined up, and it was Grandmaster Roy Oldham's class in Stratford-on-Avon there, and it was awesome. And from then, never really looked back. It closed down in Stratford after probably about 12, 18 months. Lack of students, the usual thing. Stratford's not a massive place. No. And so he used to teach at Coventry Sports Centre. Going over there, and that was a baptism by fire, crikey. And also one of his then later black belts, Chun-Li Johal, he taught in Leamington, so I used to do the Leamington and the Cov Sports Centre. That was really the sort of start of it all.
Well, I was going to say, two things there. It's quite interesting because when I started in the 70s, when I started Taekwondo, there wasn't a great deal in the Southwest, but there was always lots in the Midlands. The Midlands at that time, well, not just Taekwondo, but there seemed to be a lot of karate at that time. I was looking at when I was reading the early magazines, and all these guys seem to come from the Midlands. And of course, when I started Taekwondo, which was UKTA then. You know, a lot of the senior instructors seem to be from the Midlands, and you know, I was thinking, what's this special formula they have in having the Midlands? So it's sort of no surprise there, you know, with what you're saying, sort of Stratford and Leamington and things like that. I don't know. Did you find that there was a variety there, or was, you know, obviously you were quite young at the time, so
yeah, but you know, I got into it very, very quickly, and you know, I just immersed myself, so it was my world. So I wanted to know every instructor was with it. I wanted to know everything about everything. And Birmingham also was a very busy place, particularly for karate.
Yeah,
back then. Birmingham, again, very, very tough schools. I remember we went over to a tournament. I got kicked all over the place, and I could thinking, wow, this is different. Temple Karate Birmingham, that was. But Birmingham, Coventry was obviously very big, and of course, Grandmaster Oliver had a big school in Warwick, didn't he?
Yes,
big. Do you think that's because where Grandmaster Ree sort of was based at one time? Do you think that's where it all sort of spread from?
I think so. I mean, you know, people may not be aware that, you know, obviously originally before he went to, because obviously after that he went to Glasgow, his academy was in Glasgow, but prior to that, I believe he was in Coventry, wasn't he, around that area? And,
Woodland School apparently. So
he was doing quite a bit around there. But and it's interesting what you say about the Midlands, because one of my very first all styles tournaments, which is in the very early 80s, was at a ballroom in Birmingham. It was close to the Bullring.
Tower Ballroom, it been?
Yeah, possibly the Tower Ballroom. Yeah. And I remember going in there, and there was sort of kung fu, karate, taekwondo. And I was with Grandmaster Oliver at the time and his crew. And it was that thing where we were like going into their domain, and they were going, you know, who are these boys? You know, well, we're gonna sort them out, and they did actually the first time. But we kept coming back stronger and stronger, and you know, learning what they do and putting what we did into it as well. So it made for a great mix.
Adapting to the sweeps.
yes, that was that was a rude awakening, actually.
Yeah.
You know, there's us hopping in on one leg, and all of a sudden somebody's on the floor taking the other leg out, and we're landing on our bottoms, thinking, "What was that?"
I remember going to a very good bout in Digbeth, and it was the Taekwondo versus the karate, I think, at the time, and it was a ring, and really, really good. Again, I think Clayton Moraine actually ran that event, the Taekwondo versus the karate, and it was great. But seeing how the guys were dealing with the sweeps and stuff.
Yeah, sure.
So good.
So how did you get into teaching? I know obviously you teach you know, Taekwondo. How did that develop?
This is a bit of a funny one, actually, and it probably isn't going to sound too good across a podcast, but I'll always be dead honest. I used to manage a martial arts shop in Coventry for Grandmaster Oldham. This was probably from 83 to 85. And I didn't know what I was 19 in 1983. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I loved my Taekwondo, and I dabbled in careers and, you know, silly bits and stuff. And this one day, a Porsche pulled up outside on the curb, and a guy came in that I'd never met before, as I say, 19 years old, and he took these bin liners full of dough box out of the shop. We bought all these dough box, and he could cram it. This Porsche was a soft top, so it didn't have a massive amount of room, but he got these bin liners full of dough box in the back, and he was speaking to Grandmaster Oldham, and then off he went, and I can remember saying, "Who's that?" You know, as I say, I think that was a yellow belt or a yellow tag there. He said, "Oh, that's Ron Sergio."
Oh, right.
Wow, is he? He's got a big class. I said, and a nice car. I said, "What does he do for a living?" And he said, "What do you mean? What does he do for a living? What does he do for a living?" That's what he does. He's got a lot of students, and he's got this nice car. And I can remember it was almost like a eureka moment for me. Wow, that's what I want to do. I sort of. I did get to black belt and everything. You do your bits, and you do your bits of competing and stuff like that. But really, I just really always wanted to do that. I just thought, what a great thing to do something you absolutely love, where you can actually earn your living from it. Because it never occurred to me, that you could actually make a living out of martial arts. From then on. So I opened the Stratford Taekwondo Club 1991. I put the smallest advert you've ever seen in a newspaper, and was so shocked why only one person turned up.
Yeah.
But I persevered, and it grew and grew, and I'm still teaching there now twice a week, and I love it, absolutely love it.
Brilliant. Well, that's interesting because obviously a good colleague of Grandmaster Sergey, who was also one of my sparring rivals in the early days, and I sort of looked at him in awe when I saw him fighting. He was such a good fighter, but was Grandmaster Oliver. And actually, the funny thing is that I got picked for the Los Angeles World Championships, Heel Shows Championships in 1984. And I was over there. We were having 10 days. We're actually in Las Vegas at the time, and Grandmaster Oliver said, "Oh, Gailey, what do you do for a living?" I said, "I'm an aircraft engineer." He goes, "Oh, you should teach Taekwondo, mate." I was thinking, "Oh, can you do that? What for a living?" I'd already had a school myself, and Master Ogwon. We had a school, but I thought for a living, really. I remember coming home and speaking to Master O and thinking, "Come on, we got to do this. We got to do this." And he had a pretty good job in the laboratory. I had a really well paid job. I was working at Rolls Royce. I was a young lad, had a house and a car and whatever, and a motorbike. And all of a sudden, we just jacked it all in and just went, right, we're going to be martial arts teachers. And that was it. There was no thinking about it. We didn't know what we were going to do, how we were going to do it, but we knew we were going to do it together. And that was it. He planted that seed, and we just went for it.
It's a brave move because, like I said, it's not something that you'd initially think. I mean, I've spoken to. I can remember being at some dinner parties with some really well-to-do people in high places, and they've gone, "Yes, and by the way, John, is it? Yes, yes, John. And what do you do for a living, John?" And I tell them I'm a martial arts instructor, and I see their faces just go, "Oh," and they feel like they talk to someone else or something, It's not something that you equate making a living out of, is it? I suppose.
Well, but it isn't, and I think it's still quite unusual now. Funny enough, last night I was teaching in Swindon. And there was a lady in this venue that I was teaching. A lady came in, and she was quite an elderly lady. I think she was probably in her 70s. And she saw me in my suite. She said, "Oh, hi, young man," which was quite nice. Said, what do you do? She said, "Oh, is it judo?" I said, "No, it's Taekwondo." I said, "Oh, right." Got her talking to her and told her this is my living. It's been my living for many years now, and she was quite surprised that you could do something like that. But it is amazing, and it does actually still surprise a lot of people, even in this day and age. So there we go. So I mean, once you started the school, was it just one school you had, or did you go on to more? I mean, myself and Master O, once we opened one school, we thought, wow, this is great. We went and opened a few more.
Well, I ran Stratford, and then. I had a friend who ran a school in Leamington, and he wanted to get out of it at the pump room. So I took on his school as well. So I was running Stratford and Leamington. And there were two schools in Coventry, one at Bluecoat School, and the other one was at the 87 Centre. And I took both of those schools on. So I was running 4 schools at the time, with the help of assistants, of course.
Yeah.
And assistants are the unsung heroes who barely get a mention half the time.
Exactly, yeah.
Really important that we really need to look after our assistants because we couldn't do it without them. But so I ran those schools, and then I've had schools in other areas that haven't done so well. They haven't always been successful. It's just the way it is. Something's not, or the area's not right or whatever. But so then I just ran as a professional instructor for a good long time. Then. But do you know what? I think I lost my enjoyment a bit of the martial arts because I was charging around and everything became so, money, but I needed to make sure this club was earning this to pay the bill for that and advertise. I sort of lost, I almost fell out of love with it for a little while. And then as soon as I had children. You said I was Tommy, 19 years ago. My eldest son, Tommy, was born. And I changed things around and I just toned it all in. And I've just been teaching Stratford 2 nights a week. And do you know what? I love it at the moment as much as I've ever done. I really do. Love it. I love putting the dobook on and doing this stuff. And people, I don't think people would be honest if they really said, "Oh, yeah, I love it. I've always done this and I've always done that." I don't think so. Because I think we do. It's such a it's such a commitment that at
Yeah.
times, we don't enjoy it, do we? You know, at times,
No.
I'm teaching again, or I'm doing this, or I've got to do. We're human beings ultimately, aren't we? We're not some kind of little robot or anything like that. So we do fall out of love with it at times, but it's obviously in there and strong, and we wouldn't be where we are now if we didn't have it as our undying passion, would we?
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I mean, I had a period in the middle 90s where I fell out of Taekwondo.
Yeah.
I was still teaching, but I could tell in myself that my passion wasn't the same as it was. And in fact, I actually, even though I was teaching martial arts, I actually started another business at that time. And then I fell in love with it again for a number of reasons. And myself and Master O, we said, right, okay, let's do this. Fell back in love with it again. And as I say, the rest is history. But you're right. At times, I think if you get the balance wrong, it's not good.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the balance, isn't it? Because I think that what it is, and it's such a simple thing to remember, is when we're training and we're feeling good, it's just all about putting the dough. And I know this sounds such a cliche, and I really don't want it to sound like this, but it's damn well true.
Yeah.
You put your double on a show, because what we do is we forget ourselves, don't we? We go to the back of the queue, we're teaching, we're doing this, we're organising this, we're doing our admin at home, we're doing all of the things that we do, and we actually almost forget to get up and do our patterns and do our bits and do our kicking and our stretching and that's the bit that we need to always maintain, is so important. I remember listening to Master Boss talking at the one time, and he said, your instructors, he said, you always forget yourselves. You've got to train, especially even more so being an instructor, because you're passing stuff on. And that really, really stuck with me. And I can remember I had to have a hip replacement. About 8 years ago now, which was a bit of a shocker. And so I went through a really funny time then. Am I going to jack it all in? Is it all over for me? I'll never be able to kick and do all this sort of do all sorts of things like that. But just on a slightly different note, I will add, if there's anybody struggling with these ailments that does hear this, the best thing I ever did, seriously, it's the best thing. I was so worried. I put it off for about 18 months, and I was limping around thinking, I'm not going to have it. Pointless. I wasted 18 months of my life. I should have just had it done immediately, because it seriously is the best thing I ever did, was have the hip replacement.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, so, I had mine done actually. Well, I think. I remember
there you go.
Yeah, it was about 15 years ago. 15 years. Yeah. So,
and it doesn't. I kick. Well, my left leg is kicking better than my right leg. I might have to have one in the right leg, but it doesn't bother me. It doesn't fade because it's And as you get older as well, you see things change. I think a realization kicks in at sometimes. We're a couple of years, I'll be 60, and you cannot.
Okay, I don't know anybody's 60. Anybody.
I cannot do the things that I used to do. Luckily we've got sort of photographic memories, which is all they are now, but you can't do things, but you learn to do what you can do. Yes, still enjoy it. I don't go, oh crikey, I can't kick vertical and do this. But you kick where you kick, and you do it how you kick. And I think that some people struggle to come to terms with that side of things, with the aging, which is why a lot of people leave at a certain age, because they can't do what they used to do. But it really isn't about that. It's just about managing and be the best that you can be, and enjoying it. I've always enjoyed the power side of it. So you don't need to be a gymnast to do Taekwondo, do you?
Well, you said a number of things, and I had some hip surgery, as I say, about when my eldest daughter was 1 year old, so she's coming up to 16. So it was 15 years ago. And I remember coming out of the specialist office in tears, because he was saying, "Oh, you probably won't be able to do this. You probably won't." And nobody was going to tell me I wasn't going to be able to do, jump in reverse turn and kick to the high holder when I was, when I was 85. Because in my mind, I was always going to be able to do that. And I remember coming out there thinking, "Well, this is it. Well, I might as well jack it in now. Might as well give it in, throw in the towel, and become an engineer again." And I went into a depression about it. I didn't realize.
I think I did too. Yeah.
I didn't realize it at the time. But once time went on, and I sort of got through that and realized actually I'm actually still worth something. I have the knowledge, have the experience, and I can pass that on. Everything changed for me, and I came back and thought, right, I'm still here. I can still put my dough book on, and people will still listen to me, and it made a massive difference. So I can totally understand where you're coming from there. It's it can be it was a real shock, but got over it and carried on, and we're here today. So I would say if anybody's listening to this, that there is life after this.
Sure. For sure.
Definitely. Well, I know that my listeners, well, they may not know that the organisation that you run is TKD UK. So how's that going at the moment?
Good. TUK. It's been running now 11 years. Yeah. And basically 3 areas involved. There's the Northwest, which Master Miley is over, and there's the Scotland group, which Mr. Conley is over, and then the Central area, which is where I am, which is sort of run this area. So all good. We get together, we speak about things. We don't always agree on everything, but it's also a thing about life and getting a bit learning how to disagree and accepting other people's opinions that may be different to yours. And the world seems to be struggling with that at the moment, doesn't it? Yes, on a bigger plane, but that's really important. Yeah, learning how to agree to disagree, but not massively. No, we all pulling the same way, which is why we are like kindred spirits. Is because the Taekwondo quality is everything, and that has to come first and foremost. Yeah. I've spoken to other people before who money driven, and we've got to earn this money, and I've always thought, but how can you if your product is not good? Yeah, you've got to make your product the best it can be, and then you can surely.
You've got to give a good service, haven't you? Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah.
So
no, I agree.
Right? We love training together. We're constantly talking about technique. In this movement, 50 stick, whatever it is, we're talking about movements. It's the Taekwondo, and that's what keeps you all fresh and everything. Yeah. But so TUK on the whole, we've got. I'm up in Manchester tomorrow at Master Miley's grading. We've got the Central area grading on Sunday. Yeah. I know Mr. Condi's in the middle of his gradings up in Scotland at the moment. So all very good. And another mention, Master Ian Ridley, who's the Secretary General of TUK, a big help, keeps it on the straight and narrow, keeps me on the straight and narrow.
No, it's good.
All good.
I tell you what, the one thing, and obviously, I've been there when you've been there with some of your black belts and your instructors and whatever. And one thing that comes over is you've got a very, very friendly group, and your senior people, which is one thing that I always wanted to have in Puma, are very approachable. People can come up to you and talk, and they're not afraid of coming to talk to you. And I think that's really, really important. I don't know if you. Yeah. Well, I'm sure you did design it like that, but go on.
I don't think it's anything that we've actively spoken about. I just think it's just the way we are. And I think if the people are like that who are running the association, then I think that filters down. And because you've only got to put on any kind of social media, and you can see that martial arts does create some massive egos and some, and there's some strange things that I watch, and that's up to how other people want to do things. It's just not the way, we, as I say, we're human beings. We really are. We're not some kind of superhero or some monks who live this perfect, clean life that do, I'm sure some people are, by the way, but generally it doesn't work like that. We do the best we can. We train hard as we can. We love what we do, but we are real people, and that's hopefully, I'm glad that you said that comes across, because, I think that's really important.
Yeah, definitely. No, it's great. One thing that I was thinking, in the run up to having a chat to you about some of the events, and I was remembering our time in Atlantic City together for a number of reasons. Because I was awarded my Masters then, which was a real shock, because I didn't even want to go to the to the banquet. I was thinking, how can I get out of this? So, I wanted to stay in my room and play my guitar at the time. But I thought, I better go to it. There might be people look down on me, and then all of a sudden they announced that I was a new master, which was quite a shock. And it was nice to share it with you. Yeah, it was a nice. It ended up as a nice evening, and I was still in shock when I went to bed. To be honest, I was thinking, I wasn't expecting that at all. But it was.
Where Grandmaster Choi got awarded his 9th degree.
Yes, that's right. Yeah,
Atlantic City.
Yeah,
wasn't it 2005? 2004.
That's
2006?
yes.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, but I believe so. Yeah. It was. It was an interesting event, because prior to that, I went to New York, and then I went from New York to Atlantic City, and I quite enjoyed it. I was really just having a jolly, to be honest.
Yeah,
there was a bit of Taekwondo thrown in.
We didn't. I think something had interfered with Grandmaster Choi's schedule, so he could only come in sort of on the latter part of it. But the training was good. We enjoyed the training, all of us. Well, because there was a little group of us that went. Yeah, it was good. It was good. Yeah, it was a good trip. And also, as I say, to be there, obviously for you getting your Masters and Grandmaster Choi getting his 9th degree is a special time, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And I think, as I said, I was recalling some of the events, because I think we also spent a bit of time in Italy together, didn't we? We went to the seminar there. I can't remember what year that was, but also that was a good time, because I remember we went out for a pizza. Was it Treviso?
Treviso?
Yeah,
that's right. That was 4th degree and above IIC, wasn't it? That was really good. I'd just not long had the hip operation, so the training wasn't so hot for me. But the event itself was fabulous. Didn't you give us a rendition of a Bob Marley classic?
I did. Yes, yeah. I did.
Yeah, it was I've got that recording.
Oh dear!
Really good.
I'll pay you to get rid of that one. The worst thing is I can't even say that was the worst for drink, because I didn't really drink that much. So
it was good. Another great event and another great evening, and also we spent some time in South Korea, didn't we?
We did. Yeah.
World Championships back then.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good times. Well, one thing that I like to ask, because my students, they see me, in front of the class as a martial arts teacher, and probably think I, live and breathe martial arts, which I do. But I also have other interests as well.
Yes.
Like I mentioned, playing the guitar, and I love my motorbikes and whatever. So I always try and find out with the guests, what do they do when they're not doing martial arts? What do you like to do? And I know you have kids as well. I mean, I've got 4, and obviously they take some of my time, which is great.
Yes,
I enjoy being with them when I can get them off their phones. So that's quite good. But what about you?
Music for me has always been my passion, really, from a very young age. I used to sit in my bedroom with the record. Do you remember when record players had an arm you could put up and they would repeat?
I do, yes.
Repeat. There'd be probably a lot of listeners thinking, I have no idea what he's talking about. But the old record, and I used to rip. So I'd learn the songs. I'd just sit in my bedroom and learn all these songs. Then managed to join a band, and got a little teeny record deal and stuff, and did a little bit of touring and things. I play in a band even now today, just doing covers, a band called the Texan Peacocks, and it's great fun. Yeah, love it. Just playing music is a massive form of escape, isn't it? It's a strange one. It just takes you somewhere else. It's you can't even describe it. It's just lovely. I've always loved music. Yeah, all sorts, all different sorts.
It is brilliant. I mean, I love it. I love it too, and I still play. To this day, I haven't managed to get out very much in the last couple of years, obviously, because of what's been going on. But I used to go to a jam session next to me close to me with a lot of other musicians, and we just have a really good time. Good time.
I remember didn't you take your guitar to South Korea?
I did. Yes, I did.
To one of the countries.
Yeah.
I remember thinking at the time, wow, he's brave, because a guitar on a flight and trust that it's going to be okay and all of this sort of thing. But yeah, no, fair play. Yeah.
Well, I was mad for it, you see, and I thought every spare minute I would try and practice, and which is, you know, I still practice to this day. I'm doing more solo stuff now.
Yeah.
Sort of acoustic sets, you know, sort of Delta blues type thing. But I still, as you say, there's something about playing and being with others, playing music, and which is just there's nothing like it. It's fantastic. It's a real camaraderie. I mean, very similar to Taekwondo in a way. You got that common interest. You know, there's lots of parallels.
Yeah. There are, I think that I think the music's a bit easier than the Taekwondo there.
Well, it is now, definitely. But Taekwondo was always easier for me. It was always something that I could do just, I don't know, really well, and something that was never a chore in those training days. Not that we playing music it was good, but I wasn't I don't know, something that with the music, it was, I had to push myself a bit harder to do it in the early days. Great now, I can practice no problem. Whereas Taekwondo, never had to push myself to do it. Just got up out of bed and did it, and still do.
Also, I think it's really, really important to have a different hobby other than Taekwondo, because I've got some friends who just do Taekwondo solely, and they don't do anything else. Anything else. And sure, whether that's, you know, I don't know whether that's healthy or whether it is, you know, I don't really know, but I just think it's very grounding to have outside interests. And I'm also a carpenter, so you know, I sort of, from when was I, about 22, 23 years old, something like that. I got my carpentry qualification, and I've, you know, grown up on building sites, and, you know, some quite rough building sites where as soon as they find out you do a martial art, you're having the mickey taken out of you and all sorts of things, you know, and they're really humorous, you know, good, humorous, down-to-earth places. And I think that also helps keep your feet on the ground, you know, and stops you thinking crazy things. But it's good to realise, you know, that there is life outside Taekwondo.
That reminds me, because when I was at Rolls-Royce as an engineer, you know, the shop floor humour, you know, people I don't know, chucking stuff out. You think, oh yeah, you didn't stop that, did you? You can't be that good. So
I can remember doing a gig this one night, and we'd had a few glasses of wine. Okay, I'll say no more. And I can remember we were loading the equipment back up and everything like that. And somebody said, look, you all right carrying all that stuff and walking? I said, yeah, of course. Why? Oh, you've had a few glasses of wine. I said, yeah. But you couldn't walk on the rice paper now, could you? That's what I got now. For the people who don't know what that is, there was a program in the 70s called Kung Fu, where he had to tread on the rice paper without breaking it and stuff. And so, that was quite a funny one. I've always remembered that one.
I've actually got the audio to that. I've got the LP. I've got the vinyl. It was something that I had to buy it and treasure it. But I've still got it. I've still got the old vinyl of Kung Fu with David Carradine on the front.
That's it. Those were the days.
It's quite good. Just just a thought. You know, talking about those days. I mean, Taekwondo is very different now or martial arts in general to what it was. You know, I was speaking to Mr. Tom Nicholson recently, and I was saying that, you know, when I started, it was the domain of teenage lads and, you know, guys in their 20s who really just wanted to fight. You know,
absolutely.
But now you've got youngsters, you've got male and female mature martial artists in their 60s. I mean, I've got a few in their 70s and things like that. You know, how do you sort of fit them into your class or association? Do you have separate classes at the moment, or do you just how do you do it? How do you manage it?
It's a good question. It's changed a lot, as you said. You know, back 70s and even in the 80s and stuff, it was mainly, you know, teenagers or people in their 20s that wanted to learn how to fight better. Very, very different now. You see the clientele, we're getting people from all kinds of professional walks of life doing Taekwondo now, which never happened back then, did it?
No.
But yeah, so it's great, and there's the saying that Taekwondo is for everybody, and it's great that it is like that. I think that it's had to soften considerably from what it used to be like. It's like I said earlier on about when I first went to the temple karate, I was just horrified. I couldn't believe it. It was that that hard and violent. But it's changed a lot, and it's had to. And as long as we're still instilling the art of self-defense, which is ultimately what Taekwondo is, over and above the tournament scene, which is some people's preference, I know, but it's the art of self-defense. We've got to be doing that. Okay, it may not be as hard as it used to be, which is why I think it only appealed to a certain genre of people, perhaps. But we're getting all sorts. But we've got to remember that that's our job, isn't it? The self-defense side of it. Things. I know there are. I've got friends who run clubs that are purely for tournaments, and they want to go down the sport route, and that's the way they've gone. And I just hope in the long run that we don't see the style go, really too far that way. I just sound like some old fool just talking away about the old days, but it's not. It's a self-defense. We have to do everything as hard as we can. I went to a tournament just probably 6 months ago, and I can remember watching the patterns, and this was an open event.
Sure.
And thinking how soft all of the patterns were. That was just so soft. There's nobody with, we were taught every move has to be 100% everything you've got, almost to kill every move. And then it looked very nice what I was watching, and I can just remember thinking, wow, this is different. But again, it's a balance, isn't it?
It is
for our younger, for a lot of our. I mean, the majority are younger now, aren't they? In a lot of the schools and associations, so we've got to be aware that that's what they need over and above, the perhaps the self-defense side of it until they get a little bit older and things,
Yeah, I think it's finding is giving everyone an outlet. If they are competition minded, there should be an outlet for them. If it's if they're more self-defense minded, then it's an outlet for them. If it's more fitness, even my reason why I do it I love the challenge, the fitness challenge of it now, actually, even more so than I did, challenging myself to do just as many push-ups as I did. And, I can't keep up with the, as such with the younger guys, but, I still think to myself, right, for my age, I can still outdo all the guys my age. So I tend to look at it that way. But I'm actually starting 5th of October. I'm starting an over 60s class.
We thought about it in TUK are doing the I can't remember. There was a name that one of the
it was the Harmony, wasn't it? Harmony they were calling it.
Oh, that's that's it.
Yeah.
So you're starting that up soon?
Yeah, I'm starting an over 60s in a couple of weeks and a few weeks. I'm going to see how that goes. I'm quite excited about it because I think it's a good. It'll be obviously there's going to be changes, low impact, and it's not going to be as physical in the same way, but you can sort of concentrate on. I mean, that's a good thing about martial arts. It's a great vehicle for overall health and fitness. The strength, the power, the balance, the concentration. Keeping your mind active. I think it's ideal for mature students. I really do.
Yeah, and it's a market as well that's not really been looked at, has it? It's not. It's an area that gets neglected, and I've had people in the past. I remember having a guy who come out of the Navy. He was in his 60s and he used to box in the navies, and he'd give the boys a right run for their money. He was he was very good at the sparring side of it. But it's again, it's an area. I'll be really interested to know how you get on.
Yeah, no,
I've been discussing it in TUK for a while now.
Yeah, well, I'll let you know how I get on, because, as I say, we're coming towards the end of this, but as I say to a lot of my guests, I'd love to speak to you again, and perhaps when we catch up again, I'll tell you how I get on. But it's been a great chatting to you again, and it's been a fantastic insight into your martial arts, what you think about it, and so on. And I'm sure my audience and my students will love it. And that's what this is all about. It's about actually just talking about our passion about for what we do, and the things that we love about what we do. And we're in a people business at the end of the day, and it's those people that keep us coming back. So I just want to say thanks, really. Thanks for everything that you've done, not just in Taekwondo, but for the friendship. When I've met you, you've always been a lovely person, and I wish you all the best with everything you do. And wish your organisation.
Maybe we get to play some. Maybe we get to play some music some point.
Yes, let's hope so. Let's hope so.
Hopefully, I'll speak to you again very soon. And thank you ever so much for the chance to come on and talk.
Definitely. Well, don't go. I'm going to chat to you off of audio for a little bit. So don't go away. But I just want to say thank you to.
Does that mean awkward questions?
Yes. Yeah. I just want to say thank you to the people for listening once again to me, the Dark Master, and the Living Martial Arts podcast. And we'll say thank you very much to Master John Archer for taking the time to share his thoughts with us. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, and take care, everyone.
Thank you.